If you're a gamer or a young kid, I have a quick message for you. Right. Right now in today's time, being a content creator and being an influencer is very appealing, right? It's very it looks very exciting to be able to just play your video games, live stream, create content, and all this other type of stuff. So a lot of us, younger generation, we have acknowledged it as, something that we can do to potentially get out, right? An avenue that we could use to potentially take care of the people that we love and our family, etc. Now, something that I noticed, the message I want to give out to the young kids and the gamers who's getting into content creation, gaming videos, just anything in the public eye. I want to give you advice on how to handle the opinions and the criticism of your parents and your family. Because honestly speaking, that may have one of the biggest impacts on where you get to, right? Typically, like if I was, I'm not, I'm gonna speak on my experience, but my experience is usually the overall experience of most children, right? Your parents don't understand the usually what the internet is, right? Luckily, I was blessed with a father, right, who loves playing video games. He's a gamer. He's the reason I got into gaming. So luckily, I was blessed with at least one person who understood the scheme of what was going on. But I grew up with my mother, right? And my mother was like most of our parents. Go to college, get a good job, go to get a 9 to 5, just be able to take care of yourself so you can just float through life till you retire, hopefully get a house, get a good family, all that other type of stuff. So in the moments where I was sitting down and I was just playing the game, streaming, trying to make my content, she was kind of always, in the back of my head, like, go get a job, you're wasting your time, go to class, get better grades, whatever the case may be, right? And as an adolescent, that's really going to hit at your spirit, like it did with mine, right? By the time I started to get to an adult, I started to realize that life was shaping around my desire to be a gamer, right? I posted a video in probably about 2013, 2014. The video's still up. It's under my name. If you search up Jalen Hamilton, you're literally going to see a video posted over a decade ago. And it was me holding a cheat sheets book. You feel me? Um, and it had, I was basically saying, I'm going to upload cheat, gaming codes and all the types of stuff. I was basically just going to give people cheat codes. You feel me? So as I looked back, I was like, wait a minute. I was editing gaming videos. I had a YouTube channel and the page is still up. The videos is archived from 2016, 2017, posting 1v1 edits and Black Ops 2. Like anybody, any true gamers, especially in Call of Duty, that Black Ops 2 had a really big 1v1 scene. I was heavy in that, right? So I started seeing the trends of it. So as I was getting older and I wasn't capitalizing on it, right? I was slowing down. I was going to get jobs at Starbucks. I was building businesses, all the like masculine things that they tell you to do as a young man. I started seeing people literally blow up for the exact same things that I wanted to do. We started seeing the Kai Cenats pop up, the Speeds, the Aidens, the Swags. Um, that whole realm of gaming really took a complete 360 and started changing lives. It seems like it popped up out of nowhere. It was a whole industry that spawned up out of the dirt, right? But it wasn't that it spawned up out of the dirt. It was a energetic, like it was kind of like a timeline. We're in a timeline right now. And if you were supposed to be in this timeline of creators, if you were supposed to be in this timeline of just being yourself and living through your authenticity, almost living like a second childhood, you had signs of it very early. You got very clear instincts of it very early before this industry blew up in the way that it did. Something in you told you that you wanted to do it. For me, I was taking instance from people like Jav and like, the FaZe clan and stuff like that, back when it was just on YouTube and all that. So I me being able to see in contrast, like there was people who ended up blowing up and living their lives doing the exact same things that we are typically told to not do, really started to open up my perspective of maybe the people who don't understand our path aren't bad people. They just literally don't understand. And it's going to take you as the creator, young man, young girl, to have the emotional availability to understand that your parents and the people closest to you may not understand it, but it would be in your best interest if you did it anyways. You know what I'm saying? If you need an example of somebody who didn't have, it seemed like, the immediate support of the people in their household, but still made it to great heights, look at somebody like Speed. Speed was on live stream. Speed was literally live. And it's like his mom would come in arguing, telling him crazy things, like really kind of embarrassing him in a way, right? However, he continued to do it anyways. He continued to just keep the camera on. He was like, you know what? This is my real life. Even though I look, I'm kind of embarrassed. This is really what I want to do. And no matter how much criticism I'm getting the results by staying true to myself. I believe Cenat also had a somewhat similar instance, but it so much wasn't with his parents, right? He talks about how his mother, I don't know, I don't think he talks about his father a lot, right? But he talks about how his mother was a very, very, very big support. But the one thing that was making him kind of like nervous and, embarrassed was his room. He wasn't in a good place. He said there was mouses and stuff running across the floor, being able to be all authentic in your expression and be able to be authentic, and no matter what nobody says. Some people be like, we don't even want to turn on the cameras because our house is dirty. That's like a real thing. For me, my room was never clean. Be honest with you, like I struggle with that, and then it didn't help that I was having mental health, up and down. So I was struggling to keep a clean room. So when it was time to turn on the camera, sometimes I'll get insecure. Like, man, what does my background look like? Is there too much junk? Does this look cool? Does this look cinematic? Because we're always comparing ourselves to the top creators who always have LEDs everywhere, the best lighting and stuff like that. As I grew to learn how to do those things, it does take effort and it does take a lot of time to actually, master that trait. And if you didn't go to film school or something like that, like I did, this may have be something that's difficult for you to do up front. So you always look deficient, in other words, right? Because a lot of times the people who are deterring you are not necessarily encouraging you or supporting you in the ways that you should, or they should, because they don't think that it's possible, or their own self-limiting beliefs, right? Which really has nothing to do with you. Typically, those same people, including your parents, have seen other people and other examples of people who have achieved that exact thing, right? So it's not even that they don't know that it's possible. They just don't think it's possible for them or somebody in their immediate surroundings, right? And being able to take all of that, understand that they're just in a different chapter, they're in a different part of their lives, or they just don't understand, would give you so much peace to continue going forward. Um, like when I tie it back to that deficiency thing, you're gonna compare yourself to the people who are, doing good. So when your parents and stuff like that, or your friends, whatever case may be, they see your content, they're seeing your content or your gaming videos or your music, whatever you want to do, and they're seeing it in the developmental stages. They're seeing it in the beginning stages, and they're comparing it to people who have already made it in their quality and everything else. And in their mind, they're like, "There's no way you're going to get to this person's level, and your stuff doesn't look like their stuff. You need more money. You need more, whatever the case may be, to meet them where the established person is already at. If you plan on getting on, when that's not necessarily true." You can grow, you can adapt, you can actually blow up and go viral for something so simple that's completely haywire, that has nothing to do with the overall picture of what you guys post, what you guys want to do. Like, these things are possible, but it's always being aware to what's available. I think it's really easy to become discouraged. Like, I was writing down in my notes right before I started this video, I was like, we're not stuck. We're probably just feeling a little bit discouraged, because stuck means I have no other options. I don't think I can do anything else. Like, I literally just have to sit here and live with it. But luckily, all of us have been granted with something called the internet. And yeah, no, the internet. That right there opened up so many possibilities. And then on top of that, we can just go outside. Now, I live in a big city like Los Angeles. So maybe, my ability to say that is a little bit privileged, you feel me? Because I can just probably walk outside, drive to a better part, whatever case may be, go to random coffee shop and probably get something. You get what I'm saying? But if you're in a smaller city, that may not be an option. So the one thing that you do have is your phone, it's the internet. You know how many gamers, and this is something I also want to say too. I see a lot of people now who have businesses and scaling like marketing agencies and like real life things, and they were always gamers. Like there's this creator called Brad Scales. He has his marketing kind of firm. Marketing it's kind of something like that where he runs ads for people on Facebook Marketplace and all this other type of stuff, right? And he said even himself he was a diehard gamer, right? But at some point it's just like something switched and he wanted the money, right? But they still always have their consoles. You get what I'm saying? Like gamers will always be gamers, and gamers and content creators typically have elevated minds because they were able to acknowledge the possibility in the first place. In order for you to even acknowledge that content creation, music, gaming, whatever the case may be, is a possibility, you're on a high frequency train of thought. You're on a high frequency vibration. That high frequency vibration can be translated to so many different things. If you had the awareness to know that the internet was literally blessing people with opportunities and making people millionaires, you're on the wavelength of potentially seeing the other millions of business models that has nothing to do with the internet, probably. That could also get you those results. Because a lot of these things always comes down to your mental frame and what you're thinking and how you think about certain things. So when you have parents, and you have friends, and you have colleagues who are telling you things that are kind of counterproductive to what you see, I'm not gonna say be arrogant and just like be delusional, but you have to be delusional to a certain extent. You get what I'm saying? You have to be able to be like, I hear you guys, I understand, and while this may actually be a reality, while this may be true, I owe it to myself, and I love myself enough to at least give this a try, to at least try putting my best foot forward, and that may mean sacrificing for some of you guys. That may mean staying with your parents a little bit longer. That may mean, not going to get the best job straight out of high school or straight out of college or something like that. So you have enough time to actually go down this path. But if you have the courage and you feel like you have the skill, you have the passion, you have just that hunger and that vision within you that's like, I believe something's possible. I believe this is possible. You really do owe it to yourself, especially in your younger ages, because you have all of that energy. All of that energy is so powerful because as we get older, naturally there's going to be more adversities and more things that may hit at our energy levels, may hit at our tanks. You feel me? So the quicker you can put certain things in motion while you aren't as traumatized, while there aren't that many adversities, when you don't have children, while you still have family who can help you, and all these different type of things, that's the best time to take the risk. Don't let nobody force you guys into adulting quicker than you necessarily need to. I say this in a lot of my videos. When I'm around certain people or certain clients, right, and they're wealthy, those wealthy people, especially when they're in different races, right, they typically let their children stay with them up until they're dang near 30, past their 30s, until they actually get on their feet because money isn't an issue. And then they also understand that it's also getting passed down to them, right? So they give themselves enough time. And then that's why people be like, oh, they were privileged, it was their background. A lot of this just comes down to time. Being able to be like, I'm okay to sacrifice, I'm okay to not flex in everybody's face and be the boss dog and all this other type of stuff. But I am willing to put the work in. And by me putting the work in, is going to get me exactly what I want to where I can flex one day. It's all this one big give and take. This is coming from somebody who has film degrees, who has skill sets, who's built businesses, who has portfolios. And after all of these different things, have said, I'm willing to go to ground zero and focus on my content because this matters more to me than the superficial things that I've tried to build outside of me just to maintain the image of being a masculine man or a grown man, whatever the case may be, right? I'm okay with probably going down, quote unquote, sacrificing and struggling for a little bit just so I can set my foot and be set my foot in happiness. It's not even set our feet in content, gaming, all this other type of stuff. It's setting our feet in the things that we truly want, setting our feet in the things that we love, giving ourselves the opportunity to at least try, to at least go after the things. That's what's going to allow you guys to penetrate that energy, to penetrate all of those adversities. It is your mind, you guys. You have to protect your mind. Your parents are human. Your friends are human. They're not God, which means that they're going to make mistakes and sometimes they don't understand. You don't have to argue with them. You don't have to try convincing them. You don't have to do anything. You have to do what you do at the best of your ability and make it happen. And even if you don't make it happen, it was an experience. It was something that you tried and you learned from, but you at least tried. The people who at least tried, they gave themselves the chance to potentially live the life that they wanted. If you never try, if you never give yourself the time to go after it, you may never know. You may never know. Like I've been saying, I've been posting videos, my own YouTube videos, for over a decade. I've never had a viral video. I've ran other people's pages, all this other type of stuff, got viral videos. I've never had it for myself. If I was to look at a decade of losses and low numbers and get discouraged, I wouldn't want to do it. But the process of me staying in it for as long as I have lets me know that not only have I built the muscle to endure it, right? But the win is on the other side of consistency. Because Lord knows, I could go viral tomorrow. I could go viral tonight. I could go viral right now. We never know these things. And I could completely change the lives, my life, the people around me lives. When it happens for you guys, it could change your guys' life. You guys always hear rappers say it only takes one song. It's the same thing with gaming, content, and a lot of other things. Sometimes it only takes one viral piece. It only takes your first client. It only takes one friend. How do you get what I'm saying? It only takes one person sometimes, one thing to completely change. But you have to be able to be patient and believe in yourself long enough for that one thing to happen. Andrew Tate says something so beautiful. And I kind of reiterated it, but it came on my spirit. I was like, imagine your mark in life was at 32, but you listened to everybody else's opinions and you didn't do the things that was true to you. You would have missed that 32-year mark and you would have had to continue living the life that you didn't want to live until it finally clicked in you to do it. And now the process probably got delayed. You might have missed opportunities, etc. Right? But let's say your mark was 32. And even though you were struggling in your 20s, even though you were struggling in your adult teens, you kept doing what you knew was true to you. You kept doing what you knew was going to work, and you were aggressively passionate. You were showing people, telling people, posting it, just really being yourself. By the time you were 32, you would have achieved what you wanted, and none of the things that happened in your 20s would have actually mattered. But if you weighed all your energy on the adversities of your 20s, when you would have got to 32, you probably wouldn't have you probably would have psyched yourself out or wouldn't have been at the frequency to actually receive it. So be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to be a kid, allow yourself to mess up, but be intentional with your mess ups. If I know by nature young teens and 20s is our F up years, at least F up in the right areas. If I'm going to be messing up and just hitting my head, I'm going to hit my head with these videos. I'm going to hit my head with these content and, with my businesses and stuff like that. Because if I'm going to fail, I'd rather fail in the right direction. Don't fail down the wrong direction, because that's how people end up in jail, in other places, like this, all the negative things that our decision making can get us. Usually sitting at home playing video games, making content, being, full on the internet, as long as you're not being toxic, you get what I'm saying? It doesn't bring those decisions. It's usually a win-win-win-win-win situation. So, yeah, take advantage of your youth, take advantage of your time. Don't rush yourself, be patient, and you guys got this. I love you guys.